Hey everyone, it's me Lone. I hope you've been doing alright. It's been a while. I haven't uploaded in almost 2 months. I've missed you all so damn much. And that's mainly been because I've been on holiday, trying to relax and get some downtime before the craziness that is Starfield. And when I got home about a week ago, I just started the game and I've been playing it non-stop since. Bethesda did send me an early review code for Starfield. And by the time I got home, other reviewers already had the game for like 2 or 3 days at that stage. So I've been doing a lot of catch up, making sure that I've spent enough hours in the game so I can release my review on embargo. And you will see that review / impressions of Starfield from me at embargo on the 31st of August, specifically at 9 AM Pacific time. So keep an eye out for that on this channel. Subscribe with notifications. You will see that video from me. But before then, what I thought would be helpful would be to do a roundup video of all the major Starfield news that's being released at the moment. Because as you could imagine, there's a lot of it. You know, we've got early access around the corner. We've got launch soon after that. Gamescom just took place and both Pete Hines and Todd Howard were there talking about the game. So there's been a lot of stuff released and revealed about Starfield, information, tidbits, features, all that kind of stuff. And you might have missed 1 or 2 things. So in this video, I'm consolidating and summarizing about 6 different major pieces of Starfield news and information that's been released over the past few days, just to make sure you are ready for the game's early access and launch. So if you do enjoy this video, if you find it helpful, please like, I would really appreciate it. Again, subscribe if you can with notifications. We're going to be covering the hell out of the game at launch and beyond. But let's start off with the main thing, I think, when you're all going to be able to actually play the game. We've known for a while that early access for Starfield is going to be the 1st of September and the full game launch is going to be on the 6th of September. But since then, Bethesda has actually released all their global release times for Starfield. I'll link the map in the description below. And depending upon the country you live in, some countries are still getting it in their time zone on the 1st of September, but other countries, other places will be getting it slightly earlier than expected on the 31st of August. So, if you are in these countries, keep an eye out for that, especially if you've ordered the game digitally. You will be able to play the game slightly earlier than 1st of September. Everyone's still playing the game at the same time it's releasing, technically at the same time for everyone, but just because of the way time zones fall, if you are in these particular countries, technically you're getting it a day before you expected. So if you're in the US, if you're in New York, for instance, you're getting the game at 8 PM on the 31st of August. If you are in Los Angeles, for instance, you're getting the game on the 31st of August, but at 5 PM. But then if you move across to the UK, if you're in London, for instance, you get the game on the 1st of September, but at 1 AM. If you're in New Zealand, you get the game on the 1st of September, but at 12 PM. So same technically time for everyone, but it changes according to your time zone. So keep an eye out on that map. Again, I've linked it in the description below so you know exactly when the game releases, so you can start playing and smashing out a bunch of hours. The same goes for launch as well, by the way. Yes, it's technically 6th of September, but if you're in those US places, it's going to be on the 5th of September, and other countries as well. Depends on the time zone. So keep an eye out for that map. It will make everything clear. But it is, some nice news. I know some people anticipated it. They knew that they were going to get the game on the 31st of August because of certain release times on certain websites. I don't know how you did it, but yes, you were right. You were vindicated. But obviously, this is, again, only for the digital version of the game. If you are getting a physical regular game, or even the consolation edition, you will have to wait until that thing is delivered to you. I have seen people already get the consolation edition. It is already out there, legitimately. They can't play the game because the actual code is time locked, and they're going to have to wait, till these times to be able to play it. But at the very least, they have the watch, they have the whole consolation edition, and they've been sending me photos of it, making me very jealous. So good on you, I guess, you bastards. But yes, they can't obviously play the game until these particular times. So good on them. The next piece of news that we have is that it is confirmed Starfield has a New Game Plus mode. Recently, Bethesda Game Studios, I think it was Emil and Todd, did an interview with GQ magazine, and I'll link that in the description below. But in there, they confirmed a few different things of Starfield, and one of the main things, at least anyways, is that Starfield does have a New Game Plus mode, which is, great news for anyone that wanted it and that was anticipating a New Game Plus. Specifically, Todd Howard said the following, quote, Starfield delivers Bethesda's most immersive role-playing since 2006's Oblivion. It gives you the flexibility and options to carve out a unique identity, and even adds a unique and exciting twist on New Game Plus to incentivize continued and repeat play. So it's music to our ears, right? We really wanted New Game Plus for Starfield. We want to put hundreds and hundreds of hours in this game, and New Game Plus is only going to facilitate that. So cannot wait to experience New Game Plus. And for those of you that, want a New Game Plus, there it is. That is the news officially confirmed. I think it might have come out before then, maybe, but I was on holiday, so I might have missed it. So there, it's official for you. Next up as well, revealed in that GQ interview, it's been revealed that Starfield at one stage actually had a voice protagonist. I stumbled when I said that because, god damn, I got a lot to say about voice protagonists. But yes, at one stage, Starfield had a voice protagonist. And not only did they script out the lines, they actually recorded player dialogue. They must have had a person in the studio recording lines for the protagonist. So they got pretty far along. And I'm glad they backed out, right? So specifically what they said was, quote, the team did initially record player character dialogue, like in Fallout 4, but eventually stripped it out. Having a preset voice and intonation took too much from role-playing whoever you want to be. And obviously that was the main reason people didn't like voice protagonists in Fallout 4, because they want to be able to envision themselves in the shoes of the protagonist as the person that they're playing as. And having a voice kind of takes away from that. It just boggles my mind, though. It really does boggle my mind that Bethesda still considered it, because it got so much backlash in Fallout 4. It was one of the main reasons, or at least a reason, people didn't really vibe with that game as much. I still thought the actual voices were good. They did a good job, but it just didn't fit with what Bethesda Game Studios used to do. I don't think it really fit with Fallout 4. And in my mind, having to record full player dialogue, it just adds to Bethesda Game Studios' time, and it might take some time away from other stuff. Or maybe, the game might have been delayed even further. We don't know. But thankfully, they decided to take away that, and we're just getting a silent protagonist. That's exactly what the game should have had, does have. Excellent news all around, but I can't believe they actually considered it at one point. Next piece of news. Apparently, AMD says there's nothing stopping Bethesda from adding NVIDIA DLSS to the game. So I made a video on this, before I went on holiday. There was a bit of a kerfuffle, a bit of a controversy with Starfield only having FSR2 at launch. So FSR2 is a competitor of DLSS, and because Bethesda Game Studios and Bethesda had this, partnership with AMD, we all just assumed that the game wasn't getting DLSS because there was a contract in place that said you just have to support FSR2 and you can't support DLSS at all. We've seen other exclusive games with these kind of AMD partnerships not have DLSS and have FSR2 or some form of FSR. So we just all assumed, this is what's happening with Starfield. Why else wouldn't Starfield have DLSS unless it was a contractual reason? But AMD says no. If Bethesda want to add DLSS, they actually can. So specifically, they said the following, quote, if they want to do DLSS, they have AMD's full support. We want to be very careful not to put this answer onto our partners. Money absolutely exchanges hands. When we do bundles, we ask them, are you willing to prioritize FSR? So at the least they're asked if they want to prioritize FSR. But if they ask us for DLSS support, we always tell them yes. So, weird answer, because it's kind of saying we're giving you money. Do you want to prioritize FSR? Hint, hint, hint. Yes, you do. Make sure you prioritize it. But according to AMD, they're not actually precluding anyone, including Bethesda Game Studios, from adding DLSS support to their games, even if these AMD partnerships are in place. So hopefully, I don't know whether the interviewer said that the guy was acting cagey at this stage, so we're not getting the full story here. Obviously, they're not going to reveal intimate details of the contracts themselves. Who knows if they actually said in the contract that you need to prioritize FSR? Were they just asked, or was it actually a contractual thing? They just said it was asked. Who knows? But this might mean that we actually do get DLSS sometime after launch, which will be really good. I would really like to see NVIDIA DLSS come to the game because I have an NVIDIA graphics card, of course. If you don't have an NVIDIA graphics card, you don't really care. It is nice that we still have FSR. We have some form of upscaling technology. But according to AMD, there's no reason why we can't get DLSS. So the ball's in, technically, Bethesda Game Studios' court. Hopefully we see it. It's going to be good news if it's announced, but to be honest, I'm not expecting it anytime soon. I think Bethesda is going to be focusing on other post-launch support, stuff that they consider a little bit more important. But maybe down the line, maybe by the I tell you what, modders are going to add it in anyways. It might not be that good or as good as, Bethesda doing it officially. I don't know if they can do it without official modding tools, but one way or another, we are getting DLSS. I just hope to see it officially in the game. Next up, Starfield Leaker has been charged. You might have seen a 40 to 45 minute gameplay of Starfield Leak online. I'm not linking that to you because that is not allowed. I don't encourage you to look at that gameplay either. Just wait for reviews, wait for the game to actually launch. But somebody did leak the first 40-45 minutes of Starfield online. And not only that, he stole a bunch of copies of the game, and I believe that's how he got the copies of the game to be able to upload the footage. But he also tried to sell those stolen copies. So not only did he piss off Bethesda by uploading the footage, he stole the copies of the game, probably from some poor retailer that now doesn't have copies of Starfield. And he tried to eat their lunch as well by selling copies of the game. Like, so many laws broken here. And then, yes, this person was actually caught and charged for $2,500 to $10,000 worth of stolen property. So at the very least, $2,500 worth of Starfield copies stolen. That is actually insane. Maybe some consolation editions were in there. So this guy is getting a misdemeanor charge for stolen property and a felony charge because it was over $2,500. God damn. Why would you do that? And like maybe Bethesda, like I know that footage was taken down, so Bethesda's obviously involved in that regard, but Bethesda could technically maybe take some action against them, civilly. I don't know, but this guy's already getting charged. Don't do that. So stupid. Just wait for the game to bloody launch. And don't try and sell stolen copies of Starfield. Don't steal copies of Starfield. What are you doing? Anyways, last piece of news that we have is that there's been a bunch of reveals of Starfield from Pete Hines. He did an interview at Gamescom. And there was a summary of this interview by Dull Caterpillar 3153 on Reddit. Again, that is linked in the description below. But here are some of the things that Pete Hines revealed about Starfield. So I'm not going to talk about everything, but some of the cool stuff that I saw. So 1, Pete Hines, when he was playing Starfield, accidentally got sucked into the vacuum of space because he boarded an enemy ship and the pilot took off. 2, multiple passive points of interest across the galaxy to find. An example Pete gave was a set of farms where the people give resources to the people of other planets. Modders will be able to create planets. I cannot wait for that, man. I cannot wait for that. Certain companions will get annoyed with you if you do bad things, even companions who are really close to you. Lots of settlements with their own people and quests to find outside of the major cities. We knew that. We knew that there were going to be major cities, and then the other stuff around that. Todd and Pete have already talked about that. Talking about New Game Plus again, New Game Plus relates to the main story specifically, so we couldn't say a word on it. Says it's different from most New Game Plus mechanics, and it's rather special. Great news. Next, we've got weapon mods combined with skills are really diverse. Said that he felt like Iron Man at one stage. You can get bounties put on you, but there are ways to undo them. Museum on New Atlantis explains the lore of the game, the colony war, what happened to Earth, etc. That information is actually on Starfield's website, if you want to read up on it before launch, by the way. I actually recommend it. Super useful, super interesting. Pete has no clue how long it would take to 100% the game. Says after 150 hours, he isn't even slightly close. Next up, lots of mod support post-launch. He didn't confirm a date, obviously. If I was to guess when we're getting mod support, like official mod tools and support for Starfield, it's probably like in 6 to 12 months time, roughly then. It always takes a little bit. We will see some mods, some minor mods, but they're not going to be able to do the full suite of things as they could if they had actually had the full modding tools. So my guess is around 6 to 12 months after launch. There are mission boards in the game where they can ask you to build outposts on planets. Lots of Easter eggs you'd expect across the game. He thinks there is no level cap. He thinks. So this is Pete not wanting to piss off anyone internally by confirming something. But he said that he thinks there's no level cap, which is nice. And people on PC who have played the game early have said performance is smooth. Obviously, I'm not going to be sharing my thoughts specifically on any of that, but I just wanted to relay that information to you Pete Hines himself confirmed all of that stuff publicly, so that stuff is publicly confirmed. But if you're going to wait for my official review and impressions of Starfield, again, that is releasing on the 31st of August at 9 a.m. PT. That is all from me, Wastelanders. I hope you found this video useful. All sources are linked in the description below. And until next time, this has been Lone. Please take care of yourselves, and would you kindly keep fighting the good fight.